Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being with us this evening. I am calling to order this hybrid council meeting of Monday, November 13th, 2023. To order. Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark.
Here.
Councilman Gale.
Here.
Councilwoman Hercules.
Present.
Councilman Hernandez. Councilman LeBron. Councilman Mictum. Councilwoman Rosado.
Present.
Councilwoman Rossetti.
Here.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Here.
You have a quorum, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk, and could you please all stand up and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance? This evening, before I turn it over to our majority leader, we do have 2 point of privileges. So welcome everyone to this council meeting. Without further ado, Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to make the motion that we suspend the rules to add on, which was on our agenda, supplemental agenda item 8.1, Committee of the Whole, with the company resolution authorizing the placement of an AIDS memorial at the Columbus Green between Lafayette Street and Washington Street.
A motion has been made and properly second. Are there any discussions? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Councilman Gale.
Yes.
Councilwoman Hercules.
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez. Councilman LeBron. Councilman Mictum. Councilwoman Rosado.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti.
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. So now we will proceed with our point of privileges, and it's an honor to say that one of the point of privileges this evening is to Mr. Rab Smith, a long-time dedicated individual who has served for many years on the Board of Assessment of Appeals. And before we start the point of privilege, there are some council members that would like to address Mr. Smith with some comments, and then we will go ahead with the ceremony, starting with Councilwoman Shirley Surgeon.
I will pass on to my council colleague who wants to say a few words before we do the presentation.
Councilman John Gale.
Well, thank you very much, and it's a true honor to be present tonight to present this to Rab Smith, who he and I have gone back many, many years, and I see many people in this room with whom we've all served on the Board of Assessment Appeals. I haven't served on it, but I've been in front of it, and you've all been on the other side of it, and it's certainly been a learning experience for me over the years, but quite beyond that, just a wonderful personal relationship, and thank you so much for your service, Rab. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilman. Are there any other Majority Leader Clark?
Just quickly, myself and Rab, we go back many years, but more so with my family and my grandfather, which extend almost my lifetime, and I'm glad to see that he's still pushing, and he has not stopped, and he's an institutionalist here in the city of Hartford and beyond. So I'm glad that we are able to recognize Rab for his faithfulness and dedication to the people here in the city of Hartford. So congratulations to you, sir.
Councilwoman Surgeon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I first met Rob many, many years ago, Trudy Merrill and Ella Cromwell, when I first got involved in politics in the city of Hartford. That's who introduced me to Rob Smith. And they told me if you want to learn anything about how to go in and do ABs and what to do and how to door knock, I need to go visit him first. So here we are, many, many moons later, and I'm honored to know that I would never thought of running for office, you know, without some guidance that you, Mrs. Marrow, Mrs. Cromwell provided to a young upstart who probably thought I knew everything and knew how to tell you guys how to run an election. So thank you very much for your guidance. Thank you for your dedication to the city of Hartford. And you're still going strong, so thank you so very much for all that you do for us in the city.
Thank you, Councilman. Is there anyone else who would like to address Mr. Smith? So, Mr. Smith, I have to tell you, I haven't had the privilege to meet you in present terms, but I kept saying, who is this Mr. Smith? Because I had, you know, someone like Calixto Torres and your council colleagues and Councilwoman Surgeon reach out, and just to see how much they admire you, support you, I imagine has a lot to say about you. So thank you for your service, and it's been really a pleasure and a privilege to have you on this board for such a long time. And with that said, now Councilwoman Surgeon and Councilwoman Rossetti.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
You know, I would be remiss if I didn't say something to you, Mr. Smith. 20 years ago, when I first ran, I came to you. And you've been a friend not only to the city, but someone I've respected and to my family. And it has made the world, not only to me over the years, but look at the people who are here. You've been just a constant in our world, so we thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilwoman. To Mr. Town Clerk.
Yes, I couldn't sit back and not say anything for Rab, you know, from when I was a young officer in the Hartford Police Department, when I ran for city council back in the 90s. Rab was always there behind the scenes, helping out, dedicated to pushing the community forward and doing the groundwork to help us young folks get elected and get involved in politics. Rab has been a friend for 50 years, so it's good seeing him, and congratulations.
Do we have a microphone, a cordless one?
We can use this.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. We can make it work. Oh, we got one. Okay, we got one. All right. All right, can I come over here? Be careful, don't hurt. Well, let's turn around and face the cameras here. Okay? Come on, over this way, come on. So the first presentation, this is an honor to represent Mayor Luke Ronan for you, Mr. Smith. It says, a City of Hartford official citation, and this is from Mayor Ronan. It says, presented to William Smith, is hereby known of all. I hereby offer my sincerest congratulations and recognition of your dedicated service to the City of Hartford of the Board of Assessment Appeal and your selflessness civic leadership. Thank you. Point around. There we go.
So I know my council president wanted us to be quick, but I feel that we should read this because your life is so exemplary. Whereas William Robert Smith, the first child of Ben and Pearl Wood Smith, was born on Wednesday, February 10th, 1926, affectionately known as Willie Robert by his mother. And whereas with the exception of the time that he served in the South Pacific aboard the USS Dionysus in the United States Navy during World War II, William Rab Smith has lived in Hartford, Connecticut for all of his 97 years of life. Whereas the roots of William's family were firmly planted on Mount Calvary Church, which to this day stands proudly on Charter Oak Avenue, where his parents united in marriage in 1925, And whereas the oldest of 5 siblings, William Rab Smith, was born and raised on Wooster Street in Hartford's North End, he weathered the most challenging eras in our nation's history, including the Great Depression and the Second World War, with unwavering resilience. And whereas throughout these turbulent times and the years that followed, William maintained an unyielding commitment to his principles. His journey began as a child selling newspapers in downtown Hartford, serving as a shining example of unwavering work ethic for all to emulate. And whereas William Robert Smith has diligently served as a member of the Board of Assessment of Appeals for an impressive 4 decades, earning himself the distinction of being Hartford's finest citizen, he has also penned the remarkable memoir, I Remember Hartford, Now Therefore Be It Resolved, on this day, Monday, November 13th, 2023, on behalf of Council President Mally D. Rosado, the Court of Common Council, and the esteemed residents of the City of Hartford, we extend our heartfelt congratulations on your outstanding achievements. We also express our sincere wishes for many more years of continued success and prosperity.
Thank you for your service.
"40 years on the Board of Assessment Appeals, and that's all there is to that?" The day that I approached the assessor, because I didn't remember the year that I first came on, I said, ask him, when you go back to your office, if you can check the records, let me know when I started on this board. Back then it was known as the Board of what, John? Tax Review. And they started, it's one of the oldest ones in the state of Connecticut, in the country, where you could go and peel the value of your cows. So that goes back a little ways. But when John came back and told me, say, you started in 1982, I said, this is it. This is it. But it has been a great adventure, and we have some of the greatest people in the world in this city. And some of the most dedicated, believe me. And people that down through the years that have come before that board, some come with lawyers. Lawyers find a way to get paid for everything. They have metronomes and billable hours. But many of them are very dedicated. We have one of the most dedicated corp counsel's office there is. And that board of the assessor's office and the tax collectors, they do a tremendous job. And every 5 years, the people that serve on that board of assessment appeals, they come in and people find out that their property is now worth far more than what they paid for it, but they want to pay tax on far less than what it's assessed at. So I don't envy that guy over there. He growed a beard to try to hide, but they find him. But I would not hold up the time of this council any further, but I really, truly thank you and thank all of you for what you have meant to me.
Oh, you got the plaque? This one's a little wonky. Be careful. Okay, this one is the careful? Yeah. No, the other one. Oh, the other one. The corner's a little, oh no, that one, the big one. Yeah, over here it's a little wonky. should be when I. Okay.
And before we take a 15-minute recess, Councilwoman Rossetti has another point of privilege.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Thank you. You too. It's so nice to see you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Come on, Cecilia. Hey, Chief. Hi. You ready?
You have the floor, Councilwoman Rossetti.
So, I don't know, my colleagues want to join me? This is an official citation presented to the Cecilia Drayton. Whereas Cecilia Drayton serves as the Director of Sustainability for the City of Hartford, Office of the Mayor of Luke Bronin, in her capacity, she is responsible for advancing the city's economy, improving public health, and promoting social equity through environmental stewardship initiatives in the Climate Action Plan. And whereas before joining the Office of Sustainability, Ms. Drayton served as the Residential Deputy Program Manager at Lido's, where she implemented energy efficiency programs through 25 community action agencies and low-income households throughout the Ameren, Illinois utility territory. Prior to her tenure at Lido's, she served as the Operations Associate at Lockheed Martin in the Distributed Energies Division, where she implemented utility programs throughout the Northeast region. And whereas since joining the City of Hartford in June of 2022, the Office of Sustainability has added the prestigious Climate Leader designation in its accomplishments for exceptional leadership in addressing climate change and fostering resilience from Sustainable Connecticut, received $6 million in grant funding to prove the health and validity of vitality of Hartford's urban forest. And we were one of how many in the country? I want to say, let's just say 13. It wasn't a lot, and a lot of people applied. So it was a big deal. Doubled the enrollment of residents into the Solar for All campaign, originally launched in 2019, and is currently conducting a micro-mobility study to identify gaps in the transit network. Whereas Ms. Drayton's formal education includes a Master's of Applied Science in Environmental Policy and Management with a concentration in Energy and Sustainability from the University of Denver, a Bachelor's of Science in Technology and Plant Science from the State University of New York, an Associate's in Applied Science in Landscaping, Contracting, and Development from the State University of New York. You just are an underachiever, aren't you? Now, therefore, be it resolved on this day, November 13th, 2023, on behalf of the Court of Common Council and the residents of the City of Hartford, we acknowledge your leadership and commend these stellar accomplishments and appreciate your continued commitment to the Hartford community and wishing you continued success. Thank you very much. Woo. Thank you. Thank you.
Can I say something?
Yes, please do.
Well deserved. I want to tell you that I call her, you know what she does for fun? She goes to open house. So she can see what people have in their basement and how the climate change has affected their homes and their electricity. That's dedication, to go around the city and go to open houses, to take a look at the houses. I call her the Green Lady because when I asked her, what about how do we, the City of Hartford, take up the new concept of billions of dollars at the federal government for green technology, she was right there and giving advice. So thank you very much for doing so. And I'm looking forward to Hartford being the leader of all the green technology and all that stuff in our homes. So thank you.
I appreciate the work that you've done. I'm not sure if you're going to be sticking around with doing the transition for the next administration. If not, we can have a conversation because climate change is real. And I think that for the fact of sustainability, we need to have a larger conversation on how we can make more of our infrastructure more green and more efficient. So I'll just put it out there. I look forward to working with you. Okay, thank you very much.
She's sticking around, right?
No, thank you very much. I second everything that Councilman Clark said. Climate change is real, and having an Office of Sustainability is a first step. And the city of Hartford has been a leader in doing that, and you are obviously taking us to another level. And so we certainly greatly appreciate that. And we do hope you stick around.
You got 60 seconds.
60 seconds. All right. I just want to say that I'm happy to be here, although hearing my credentials read was a little jarring, but I was on a journey to figure out where I could formally impact process and people, and Hartford was that place. So I just want to thank the Brown administration for creating the Office of Sustainability. I want to acknowledge those who came before me, and I want to thank the residents for always speaking their mind, because without them, we would be unable to make such an impact in our programming. And to all of my colleagues and peers that have helped me and have been my cornerstones, Director Drummy in particular, I thank you all. And I just want to say, we're just getting started.
Thank you, Cecilia.
And now we are going to take a 15-minute recess, and we will be back at 8 p.m. Thank you, everyone. And now we will reconvene this meeting. Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Here.
Here.
Present.
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 Here.
Here.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we approve the minutes of the October 30th, 2023 meeting.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly second. Are there any discussions on the meetings minutes? Any discussion? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Yes.
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 Councilman Hernandez. Councilman LeBron.
Yes.
Councilman Micklem. Councilwoman Rosado.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti.
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we place the following items on our consent calendar. Item 3.1, Mayor Broning with a company resolution that will allocate $2 million from the final financial corporate contribution made by large Hartford employers toward the Albany Woodland development. Item 3.2, Mayor Broning with the company resolution authorizing the allocation of $1.4 million from assigned fund balance to be used as needed for any of the three projects. Item 3.3, Mayor Broning with a company resolution authorizing the city to accept a grant in the amount of $18,345.99 from the State of Connecticut Department of Transportation Highway Safety Office for the fiscal year 2024 Click It or Ticket Enforcement Program. Item 3.6, Mayor Broning with a company resolution authorizing the city to accept a grant in the amount of $323,956.28 from the State of Connecticut Department of Transportation Highway Safety Office for the fiscal year 2024 Comprehensive DUI Enforcement Program. Item 3.9, Mayor Broning with a company resolution to accept a grant in the amount of $44,981 from the State of Connecticut Department of Public Health, GPH. Item 3.10, Mayor Broning with a company resolution, to accept the grant in the amount of $55,000 from the State of Connecticut Department of Public Health, DPH. Item 4.1, Operations, Management, Budget, and Government Accountability Committee with amended resolution authorizing the City of Hartford to accept a 15-year tax abatement agreement with Westbrook 6 Housing. Item 4.2, Planning, Economic Development, Housing Committee with a company resolution authorizing the city to enter into lease amendments and extensions for the properties at 46 Coventry Street, 56 Coventry Street to the Intercommunity, Inc. Item 4.3, Planning, Economic Development, Housing Committee with a company resolution authorizing to enter into a lease extension agreement for the land owned by the City of Hartford located at 961 Weathersfield Avenue. Item 4.4, Planning, Economic Development, and Housing Committee with the company resolution, the appointment to the Greater Hartford Transit District. Item 4.5, Health and Human Services Committee with the company resolution confirming the appointment of Carrie K. Allen to the Commission on Human Relations. Item 4.6, Health and Human Services Committee, resolution for health and safety of Hartford nail salon employees and patrons. Item 6.2, Council President Rosado, Council Majority Leader Clark, Councilwoman Rossetti, Councilman Hernandez, Councilman Gale, Councilwoman Surgeon, Councilwoman Hercules, resolution to support the Hartford School Superintendent in learning about promoting and incorporation of AI, artificial intelligence, in school curriculum. And item 8.1, Committee of the Whole with the company resolution authorizing the placement of an AIDS memorial at the Columbus Green between Lafayette Street and Washington Street.
Second.
Thank you. Are there any discussions? Councilwoman Surgeon.
Through you, Madam Chair. Is 4.1 trying to see if it was We had changed something on the term sheet. Was there supplemental done for 4.1? I can't remember.
There was an amendment that was sent to us today.
Tonight?
This afternoon it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and for the record, to mention that it's an amended resolution.
Thank you.
So part of the, to answer your question, the new terms of the agreement, there is a $15,000 community benefits for Phase 6A and another $15,000 for Phase 6B. So a total $30,000 for
And it
Phase
was sent
6.
today?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I missed it. Sorry.
It's sent from the Chief of Staff.
I apologize. Maybe it was sent to my city email and I didn't. All right. Okay, as long as you said it's there, I'm good.
Okay. Councilman LeBron?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I want to take these opportunities to talk about issues while I still have the time here on council, as my term sunsets on December 31st. So the first thing I want to talk about is item 4.1. And this is the resolution regarding the Westbrook housing phase. So I'm going to approve this, so just to let everyone know. But I want to talk about an item in detail, which it says, the Westbrook Housing Phase 6 is property owned by the Housing Authority of the City of Hartford. So one of the reasons why we approved this was because of the ability and the need in our community for low-income housing. And what we continue to see is that with the City of Hartford and the Hartford Housing Authority specifically, is that once someone is granted a unit, they are to come up with, within a week, the security deposit and the first month's rent. And so oftentimes, this excludes them from a life-changing opportunity. To have to put down anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 can be really critical in their lives. And this is something that happened to me when I was 21 years old, and I lived in Westbrook Village, and my wife and I, our children were young, and we had the opportunity for Section 8 housing, but we couldn't come up with the first month's rent and the security deposit in a week. So constituents reached out to me, and so I began to do research. I think that's the important piece. And what we find is on the City Hartford Housing Authority's website and also on HUD's federal legal obligations, is that there is a minimum of 30 days that someone has to come up with the first month's rent and a security deposit. So when you talk about people that are on week-to-week incomes and potentially have folks who, you know, if they have a flat tire, they can lose their jobs, the difference between a week and a month is tremendous. And so I just want to remind all my council colleagues that when we enter into these agreements, I understand the abatements and the clawbacks, as I call the Councilman Gale clawbacks, but let's be reminded about why we're doing this. And that if we're not operationalizing policy to help the people that it's intended for, then why are we doing it? And so we have to continue to look at, we have to hold these developers accountable. I'm not saying Westbrook Village is one of these folks. What I'm saying is that I'm not going to have many opportunities to talk about this anymore, at least on this dais. And we have to make sure that anyone who is getting any abatements or any connection with the City of Hartford subscribes to at least providing tenants 30 days to come up with the first month's rent and security deposit, not the current standard of 1 week's time. Thank you. So the next item I want to talk about is the item on artificial intelligence. So I see the superintendent here, and we had someone talk from public comment. What I will say is that we cannot be fearful of technology. Again, me coming up in Hartford and going to Hartford Public Schools, I remember a time where internet was introduced at Hartford High. And while our colleagues outside of Hartford and our student peers outside of Hartford were getting computer labs and access to the internet, we did not. So when I graduated Hartford High in '96, I'm dating myself, we had one computer lab for 3,000 students with 30 computers and no access to internet because the community was fearful about our access to technology. And so while our colleagues continued to, and by the time I went to college in 2000, emails and websites were a part of it. AI is here, AI is not going anywhere, so let's not be fearful of what might be, and let's think about the potential of what can be for our Hartford Public School students. So I'll be voting in favor of this as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Are there any other comments? Oh, Councilwoman Rossetti.
Thank you, Council President. I wanted to speak to, because it might not be as clear, because it's not here, that's why it might not be clear. Agenda 8.1, it was a committee of the whole, the accompanying resolution authorizing the placement of an AIDS memorial at the Columbus Green between Lafayette Street and Washington. It came out of committee also favorable, but saying, or appropriate place. So we are all in agreement that it will go on to the administration. It wasn't reflected here, and I want people to know that that was how it came out of committee. Thank you, Council President.
Can I?
Thank you.
Yes.
Councilman LeBron?
So I just also with 8.1, the community members, this area was attached to the Columbus Triangle. And so as I reflect back on my 4 years here, one of the things that I loved and cherished was co-chairing a task force with Councilwoman Rossetti. And we spent a lot of time on that. And if anybody wants to take the time, we had community members, academics, folks, all ages, diverse. I mean, it was a very robust and comprehensive group. And if anybody wants to take the time of the recommendations of that Columbus Ad Hoc Task Force, this AIDS memorial was exactly, not AIDS, the AIDS memorial specifically, but the spirit of this resolution was exactly what the community wanted. So I'm very excited about this opportunity and the fact that we were able to, Councilwoman Rossetti and all the committee members and I, created a pathway that I feel with full conscience and full spirit that this is exactly what the city wanted. So thank you. I'll be voting yes on this as well.
Are there any other comments, any other discussion? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please, oh, no, Councilman, Majority Leader Clark, you have the floor. Yeah, when he calls the vote. Okay, great, thank you for that clarification. Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark?
Yes.
Councilman Gale?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hercules?
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez? Councilman LeBron?
Yes.
Councilman Michdam? Councilwoman Rosado?
Yes, Mr. Clerk, yes to all of them, and for the record, I am recusing myself from item 4.1 since I work for the Hartford Housing Authority.
Thank you. Councilwoman Rossetti?
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we receive the following items. Item 3.11, Planning, Economic Development, Housing Committee, communication concerning a resolution authorize the transfer of 9 city-owned properties to the Hartford Land Bank. Item 3.12, Planning, Economic Development, Housing Committee, communication concerning a resolution to authorizing the city to sell city-owned property located at 128 Westland Street to Citadel Mutual Housing, LLC. Item 3.13, Planning, Economic Development, and Housing Committee, communication concerning a resolution authorized to enter into and execute a purchase and sale agreement, the P&S agreement with the West Indian Social Club of Hartford or an affiliated entity. Item 3.14, Planning, Economic Development, and Housing Committee, communication concerning a resolution authorizing the city to enter into a lease agreement for the office space for the WIC and MIOP programs at 895 and 885 Albany Avenue. Item 3.15, Planning, Economic Development, and Housing Committee CROG presentation. Item 3.16, Health and Human Services, an ordinance amending Article 4, Section 17-76 of the Municipal Code of Hartford for the prohibition of smoking in outdoor areas.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly second. Are there any comments, any discussions? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Councilman Gale,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hercules,
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez, Councilman LeBron,
Yes.
Councilman Micdom, Councilwoman Rosado,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti,
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we refer the following items to the mentioned committees. Item 3.4 to the Health and Human Services Committee, Mayor Bronin with accompanying resolution confirming the appointment of Crystal Nieves to the Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, Queer Plus, LGBTQ Plus Commission. Item 3.5 to the Health and Human Services Committee, Mayor Bronin with accompanying resolution to accept a grant in the amount of $1,500,000 from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Item 3.7 to the Quality Life and Public Safety Committee, Mayor Bronin with accompanying resolution authorizing the city to lease office space from St. Joseph's Cathedral to establish a Northwest Hartford Police District office at 134 Farmington Avenue. Item 3.8 to the Planning, Economic Development and Housing Committee, Mayor Bronin with accompanying resolution authorizing the city of Hartford to adopt an illicit discharge detection and elimination IDDE program plan in conformance with the city's MS4 permit. Item 6.1 to the Building Dedication Committee, Majority Leader Clark, Councilwoman Surgeon, Assistant Majority Leader Rossetti, Council President Rosado, resolution in support of superimposing Annette W. Carter Way on Branford Street.
Second.
A motion has been made and properly second. Are there any discussions, any comments? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Councilman Gale,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hercules,
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez, Councilman LeBron,
Yes.
Councilman Micdom, Councilwoman Rosado,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti,
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we postpone the following items until November 27th, 2023. Item 5.1, Planning, Economic Development, Housing Committee communication concerning an accompanying resolution authorized the transfer of 9 city-owned properties to the Hartford Land Bank. Item 5.2, Planning, Economic Development, Housing Committee with accompanying resolution authorizing the agreement and ground lease with Andy Leap Enterprises LLC. Item 5.3, an ordinance amending Chapter 17, Article 1 of the Municipal Code of Hartford to provide information on the safe storage of firearms in Hartford. Item 5.4, an ordinance amending Chapter 21, Article 2 of the Municipal Code of Hartford to provide information on reports of lost or theft of firearms. Item 5.5, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 7, Division 2, Section 2-502 of the Municipal Code of Hartford to establish yearly mayoral hearings on the proposed city budget.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly second. Are there any comments? Councilman Nick LeBron.
Excuse me. So till today, and through you, Madam President, I received multiple phone calls about items 5.1 and 5.2 specifically. Rather we believe they're controversial or whatever one's opinion, the important thing is that we have these critical conversations in order to move things forward as a community. So I look forward to having the conversation on November 27th. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other discussion? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Councilman Gale,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hercules,
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez, Councilman LeBron,
Yes.
Councilman Micdom, Councilwoman Rosado,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti,
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we go into executive session for item 7.1 to discuss Mayor Broner with a company resolution requesting council to enter into executive session to take up two matters. One, Gardilo Cruz versus James Dugan, and Martin versus City of Hartford.
Motion has been made, properly second. Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Councilman Gale,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hercules,
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez, Councilman LeBron,
Yes.
Councilman Mictum, Councilwoman Rosado,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti,
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon. Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Councilwoman Hercules, do you have the link for the executive session?
I do not. If someone could please send it to me.
We will.
Thank you.
Welcome. Members of the public, we are now entering into executive session. We will be back shortly. Thank you. Thank you, Majority Leader Clark. And on that note, Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to make the motion that we come out of executive session.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly second. Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark?
Yes.
Councilman Gale?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hercules?
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez? Councilman LeBron?
Yes.
Councilman Mictum? Councilwoman Rosado?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti?
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon?
Yes.
Have a motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. In the matter of executive session, item 7.1, I'd like to make the motion that we take action on the Juan Gordillo Cruz versus James Dugan.
Second.
No. I need to read it. For the settlement of $500,000.
Second. Did we?
Motion has been made and properly second. Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark?
Yes.
Councilman Gale?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hercules?
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez? Councilman LeBron?
Yes.
Councilman Mictum? Councilwoman Rosado?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti?
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we take action on the executive session matter, Martin versus City of Hartford, for a settlement of $500,000.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly second. Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark?
Yes.
Councilman Gale?
Yes.
Councilman Hercules?
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez? Councilman LeBron?
Yes.
Councilman Mictum? Councilwoman Rosado?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti?
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. I want to thank everyone this evening. This meeting is adjourned. Have a good night.
Thank you.